Everything. Or nothing. Everything. Or nothing.
Throughout the history of professional sports in America, football and basketball have been dominated by white people, but since the racial integration, African Americans have taken over. This takeover has become very controversial and has led to many biases and stereotypes in not only society, but in the sports themselves.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something.
Gentlemen, please. We've been at this all night. We have to come to some agreement. Otherwise, we're going to end up with black golfers, female race car drivers, and boxers who aren't Italian or even Irish.
This guy wants me to take a cockfighting.
Well, what am I supposed to do with gymnastics, eh,
I don't know. What am I supposed to do? He said, "Pacatare."
Guys, settle down. We've got a deal on the table. Football for hockey.
Fine, take it.
No, wait, what? We got hockey. It's the sport of the future. It's the best of figure skating and boxing. It's fine, guys. It's good.
Deal. But the whites keep quarterback.
Oh no, we want every position.
But without white quarterbacks, who's going to open our steakhouses and car dealerships?
No, wait, we need every...
Let me get this straight. There's going to be 11 black guys and 1 white guy, and we can do anything we want. Anything.
Yeah. And there won't be any German shepherds or fire hoses turned on?
Policemen with sticks.
No, we would never do anything like that. Deal?
Deal! We got football.
It's your house.
You want it?
Tastes good.
Oh, what is that?
That's how we celebrate a victory. It goes back
This
to
video is poking fun at football's dominance of black people. The skill positions, such as wide receivers and running backs, are mostly black, while quarterbacks are mostly white. This is a common stereotype in the NFL, but does this stereotype hold true? White head coaches pick white quarterbacks 88% of the time to start, compared to the slim 12% of black quarterbacks that start under white head coaches. In contrast, under black head coaches, the number evens out. White quarterbacks start 57% and black quarterbacks start at 43% of the time. Out of the 32 NFL coaches, 7 being black and 25 being white, 74.1% of their backup quarterbacks are white and 25.9% are black.
I remember being in a conversation with young black guy and older black guys, okay? The younger black guys were with the Tebow thing. They were like, whoa, this is cool, the whole thing. But the older black guys just couldn't be a part of it. They didn't feel good with it. You know why? Because the whole time along they saw these great college black quarterbacks who were denied the opportunity to do their thing in the pros. And what did they say to those guys? No. If you can't be a drop back quarterback in the pocket, you can't play in the pros. You could be a DB, you can be, this, you could be that, you can play all kinds of positions. Cordell Stewart knows it pains him because he went through that. So there's a lot of people who look at it and say, but yet here's the NFL giving a white guy who plays more like maybe a black quarterback did in college, right?
Yep, you
but
got that right.
they're making all these exceptions for him. So there's a resentment that how come this thing wasn't made 10 years ago for other guys who had the same kind of skills? Why weren't they willing to tear up the roster and make it work so that you could get this talent in there? It was a flat-out no way, no how, and I think that's the part where you see a guy get so much attention playing a game a certain way that the NFL always said, we wouldn't play like that. And I think that's where it comes from when you talk about the racial component.
That's interesting and very well said.
This is currently a big controversy when pertaining to the NFL and racial issues. White quarterback Tim Tebow, who plays much like a black quarterback, was given the opportunity to play by being drafted as a quarterback. Many black quarterbacks are requested to change positions for the draft. For example, Denard Robinson entered the combine as a wide receiver, even though he was very successful at Michigan as a quarterback. and played very similarly to Tebow.
Now, the white delegation's been very generous with the blacks. We've given you football, we've given you track, and most of field. Can we please
have luge.
I don't know. I grew up with luge.
I come from a long line of losers. My father,
We
uncle.
have to have luge. Oh, the excitement of the wind rushing past your face.
Okay, calm down. I got it. I'll tell you what. You give us luge, we'll give you basketball.
Basketball.
What would a black man do with a basketball?
Yeah, a black man could never match the white man's speed, finesse, and great lipping ability.
I tell you what. We'll give basketball a shot if you take fly fishing off our hand.
I don't know. No, fly fishing is so ethnic.
Luge!
All right, you got a deal.
Wicked luge!
This video is very satirical when discussing race in the NBA. It contradicts many stereotypes in a humorous way when saying a black man can't play basketball or match a white person's athletic ability, because black people are thought to be more athletic and actually compose most of the NBA.
So you think that they've made a calculated decision to put more white players out on the floor?
Absolutely. They need that fan base. This is, as I was quoted as saying in the Star Tribune, this is a predominantly white state, about 94% or better. That's the fan base. I'm, as a black person, very sensitive when I start hearing officials and coaches talk in terms that we've got a much smarter team. You know, I really don't hear that reference as it pertains to African Americans. May talk about us as being athletic, certainly don't talk about us as being that smart. Now, that was Adelman's statement in the paper, in the article. I don't think he really intended to make it.
But do you think that it would be possible? I mean, is it possible that you could have that statement, we have a smarter team? Is it possible you could make that statement and it doesn't refer to race?
Well, I'm afraid I differ, sir. You know, I lived the experience as a black American, so I don't buy what you're trying to tell me.
This discusses the fact that Minnesota's population is 94% white, and the Timberwolves compose their team of mostly white people, so the state would like them. He also argues that calling the Timberwolves a smart team is racist because other teams that are mostly black are never viewed as smart and only athletic. Shown through conducted studies, it's proven that the amount of white people in the NBA are decreasing, while the number of blacks are increasing. 17% of the players are white, while 83% are colored. Of those 83%, 78% are African American, 4% are Hispanic, and 1% are Asian. There's a racial bias in the way NBA games are being officiated. There is a foul rate difference of up to 4.5%, depending on the race of the player and the officiating crew. These calls can affect the outcomes of games, especially with a single race crew. With such, own race bias, made in favor of one's own race, would make a difference in 3.4% of games' outcome, which equates to 3 games per team a year. When viewing sports through a racial lens, there are multiple biases. In the NFL, black people dominate the skill positions, and white people control leadership spots, such as quarterbacks. In the NBA, black people dominate every position, while whites are slowly fading out of the sport. This dominance goes along with the stereotypes of white man can't jump, or black people are faster and more athletic than whites. These biases and stereotypes, however, aren't only carried throughout the NFL and NBA, and hold true for many sports in America.